welcome back to my channel, my dear elegant ladies, and this is video 3 of my 3-part series of how to pick the right elegant coat for you. Today's video is going to talk about variations of elegant coats. If you haven't watched part 1 and part 2, I do recommend you watching after this video. I will link them. If you're new to my channel, my name is Anna and I run an online finishing school called School of Affluence. I teach women high society skills and how to be successful with the elite. If you're interested in starting the transformation and improve yourself to the point where you are a high caliber lady, visit schoolofaffluence.com. So variations. I do want to go over the ones that we have available for us so that you kind of know what to choose from in case you just want to have something different than the styles that I spoke about in video 1 and video 2. Now what's good about those styles in video 1 and video 2 is that they're the classic styles, and I really think that you should go for them first. So if you are on a tight budget and you have to prioritize, stick to video 1 and video 2. Now, if you have a little bit more of money to spend, then start exploring other avenues and other types of coats, because honestly, ladies, we do need many different coats in winter if we want to survive fall and we want to survive winter, which in some countries, it can be up to 6 months of cold and cold type of weather. And believe me, because I come from there, I'm originally from Sweden, and it's tough. It's tough to live in such climate, and majority of the year you don't feel attractive as a woman because you're wearing this one kind of semi-cute coat that might not necessarily do you a favor. So I pretty much learned from my experience in Sweden is that actually, what makes me happy in winter is when I have options, when I don't have to wear the same old thing every day, when I can actually wear different coats, still be warm and still look good. So what coats am I going to offer you today? Let's start off with a trench coat. I think trench coat is a classic in the wardrobe and is definitely a staple piece that a woman can acquire in many different colors and variations. You have the most common length is the mid-length, and the most common brand for trench coats is Burberry. But actually you don't have to go for Burberry because there are many other brands. You have to also take into account that trench coats can vary in thickness. Some are very, very light, almost like a summer coat, and those are usually not to wear during fall and winter because you're going to be too cold. But there are thick trench coats that you can definitely wear during fall. Usually they're not really sustainable for winter depending on your country. Definitely wouldn't work in Sweden. But I think trench coats are very feminine because of the belted system, and it just really shapes you and shows off your figure whether you are an hourglass or not. I think trench coats can be worn both with dresses or trousers. It really doesn't matter. The good thing about them is that they're classic and they really elevates a woman to look very chic and stylish. So I do recommend, once you have money to spend, to definitely invest in a really nice trench coat. What about the kind of cape style coat? Okay, to be honest, I don't really know the exact name for this coat, so if there are any police patrolling in my comment section, please do let me know what this coat is called. Now, this cape style coat, I have seen it a lot on elegant, affluent, high caliber women that I call jet set babes. I actually have a blog called jetsetbabe.com if you want to check that one out. So these women, they're affluent and they love looking luxurious and glamorous. And actually the cape is a really good variation to the coat because it's kind of similar. I would personally get it in a lighter color instead of going dark. I think maybe gray or earthy tones or maybe beige. They can be quite warming depending on which one you buy, but usually they are made for fall. They're not really too much to walk around in snow type of weather, so be prepared for that. My personal favorite is the tweed. I love tweed, and I talk about tweed a lot in all my channels for many, many years, and I will probably never stop talking about tweed because tweed is actually a fabric that can be quite warming, not necessarily for winter, but for fall it definitely works. And you can find some really nice tweed jackets. I mean, after all, Chanel is famous for tweed, but you can also get it from any brand. It's not necessarily a designer brand, and it can be just as chic. What is good about tweed is that you can definitely wear a tweed coat, and there are tweed coats that can actually be quite thick, but again, it depends. So you really have to be there scouting, and perhaps this is something you have to buy in person rather than buying online. I find that tweed can be a little bit of a hit and miss if you buy from a mid-range brand online, because you cannot always feel the thickness of the tweed and whether it's going to actually look luxurious or not, because some tweed are of very thin fabric and then they just look like rugs. We don't like that. We like thicker tweed because that's when it looks luxurious. Ladies, if you haven't downloaded my free cheat sheet, How to Look Expensive, I share with you the key elements, my secret tips and tricks on how you can elevate your look from plain Jane to affluent woman with simple and doable steps regardless of your budget. Visit classycheatsheet.com and download your free cheat sheet after this video. Now let's talk about fur. And fur is a very sensitive topic, so I'm not going to go into the politics too much of it, but I do want you to know that I'm not 100% animal friendly myself because I wear leather as an example, but I do try my best when it comes to living as animal cruelty free as possible. For instance, with beauty products, makeup, educating people on my channel and so on. But something that I really draw the line for, and that is fur. I think wearing a whole fur is horrible. I do not see any beauty in that. I think it looks tacky and it's actually very out of fashion. You have many fashion houses that stop using fur. So that's something I'm against. So I'm not advocating at all for using fur. Of course, there are times where some coats may have fur trimmings. Now, I'm not saying that that is okay, but my line is drawn when you are wearing a full fur. But when it comes to fur coats, I do think that there are many beautiful, actually fake fur coats today. It does require a little bit of research because not necessarily you walk into Topshop and Zara and you will find it. Usually the fast fashion brands, they don't have beautiful fake furs. But you can find still, there are actually vegan brands that specialize in creating beautiful fake furs. You also have like brands like Stella McCartney who are all vegan, so please do have a look at that. But of course, a fake fur will never be as warm as a real fur. But the good thing is that we don't live in ancient times anymore, so we can use layering to keep us warm underneath. So that was my little take on fur. Now, something that is also not very animal friendly, that is wearing like a down feather coat. They are very warming, so that is something that I also do wear sometimes, even though I try to even cut down on these type of jackets. But definitely any puffer jackets, you can actually find many who do not have down feather. You have many who have synthetic materials that are equally warm, so try and source that instead of real feathers. I think that these are definitely a must for casual attire, for daytime attire, for when you are going for walks or errands and so on. Usually puffer jackets are not any form of evening attire, but I do still think that it's important to have one in your wardrobe because they are useful and they are convenient. Now lastly, we have more coats like the teddy coat. Teddy coat is usually out of 100% synthetic material and it can actually be quite warming. The only problem with the teddy coat is that I don't necessarily find it to be the most elegant because it's a little bit bulky. It's like the down feather coat. It's convenient, it's a good casual daytime coat, so it can be a good purchase to make if you need to have it for any form of occasion. Now ladies, my mini series have come to an end. I hope you have enjoyed these 3-part videos. If you haven't watched part 1 and part 2, hey, what are you waiting for? Go and watch them right now and make sure you get your free cheat sheet on how to look expensive so that you can start looking like a high caliber woman and elevate your life and achieve great success. I will see you in my next video.